achieved. So I don't know how a lot of people set goals. I don't know if it's like in order of importance or from the smallest to the biggest, but I know that within those goals there are definitely things that you feel like even if you don't achieve the other things, you'd be happy to just get, you know, one or two of those things, like your big ticket items. But there are also small things, like smaller things that, you know, you feel like Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So we are at the end of the year, well, almost the end of the year. We are in October. I actually thought about doing this video before October, but yeah, you know, life happens and I just couldn't find the time to basically sit down and film. But now I feel like, I know it's like mid-October, but there's still time, it's not too late. And yeah, for the most part, I wanted to talk about how I had a thought last week or the week before about how October is always like such a pivotal time in my life, or in my year rather, where I'm either frantically going around trying to accomplish something because I feel like I just haven't done enough in that particular year. Or like I'm getting ready to, you know, take on something very like big in my life, or even just, you know, surrendering to the fact that I'm just not doing a lot that year, like to the fact that I haven't achieved a lot of my goals, and it's just been sort of like a failure of a year. And you know, I was just reflecting on just this year and how it's been quite a good year in terms of like my goals that I had set out. But I mean, there are a lot of things, other things, like maybe smaller things, I would regard them as like smaller things that I feel like I have just allowed to fall by the wayside, whether I was just too distracted by, you know, the big ticket items. But I do just want to use this time before the year ends to sort of like get into the routines that I had promised myself, or just do the little things that I had promised myself that I would do at the beginning of the year. I feel like I still have time. You know, they say that it takes 21 days to form a habit. I know that there's new research now that talks about, is it 50 to like 90 or 75 days, but there's like new research that basically rebuts that whole 21-day thing. But you know, nonetheless, I do feel like there's still enough time to do that, just to make sure that as we go into 2024, you know, I am ready. We are ready to like smash our goals. And you know, there's also just this lingering there's also this lingering thought that I've been having, that you know, when you promise yourself something and then you don't do it, or you don't accomplish it, there's sort of like this feeling of betrayal that you have with yourself, and you start doubting yourself, and I don't want that for me. And if I can do something to sort of like curb that or to avoid that, then I'm going to do it, because it's very important to sort of like keep the promises that you make to yourself. Someone very wise taught me this, that you know, you build this muscle of just trusting yourself by the small things. So that's why for me, I feel like it's very important to use this time to do that. I still have time. And then also just one last thing I want to touch on before I start the video is that this is obviously my first sit down video, but I think I had mentioned in one of my previous videos that, you know, I'm just trying out different formats of like delivering my content. I'm trying to figure out what I enjoy, what you guys enjoy. So I'm very much open to, you know, suggestions that you may have on what to talk about next or what to do next. Obviously it needs to be within the, you know, the ambit of things that I believe in. It needs to be true to me and my values and how I want to present myself. But I think for the most part, a lot of people that, you know, would be watching this video would sort of have sort of like similar interests. So if you do have something that you would like me to consider, then please do not shy away from making those suggestions. And also please leave a comment, tell me what you like and what you don't like. And yeah, please also share the video with someone that might find it helpful. So yeah, let's get started. I have my tea, I have my notebook, and let's get down to business. So before we start, there's a tweet that I came across, I think it was yesterday, that really resonated with me, and I actually want to read you guys this tweet because it speaks to, you know, trying new things and, you know, just putting yourself out there. And I found it so wise and like so sort of like oh gosh, I feel like I should have done this before. Okay, here it is. Anyway, so it was something that Janine J tweeted. I don't know if you guys know her, but she's just this fabulous lady on Twitter, and she said, people in South Africa are scared to try things. They are scared to borrow from winning formulas, and this goes from DJing to entrepreneurship because of this fixation that we have only that one person that can do that thing. We see it in how centralized our economy is, how many monopolies and oligopolies we have. You don't succeed or win without failing, without trying. So if only one person can do the thing, you'll never try. You'll never get better. You'll never have the chance to succeed. It's stifling on so many industries. And, you know, I just found it profound, you know. I just found it incredibly eye-opening because I feel like I'm also a person who will not try a lot of things because I'm just scared that I won't be good at them. And I'm challenging myself right now with this whole like YouTube thing, because why not, you know, this notion of, you know, you can't start something because a lot of other people are already doing it is really quite limiting, because you don't know what your unique selling point is, like what differentiates you from people until you try. And you don't know how good you could be at something until you try. And yeah, so I just wanted to drop that before we start. But yeah, I think let us get into the video now. Basically, you know, in my reflections have just summarized 3 things that I will be implementing to my own like life and my own strategy to reset for 2024. And number 1 of those things is I will be using this time to so use this time to reflect and re-strategize for 2024. I know it's quite anxiety inducing to sort of like have a look at your goals for a lot of people. It's a lot of anxiety to you know, be honest with yourself and sort of like do a reconciliation of what are the things that you set out to do at the beginning of the year. What of those things have you achieved and what of those things have you not achieved? So I don't know how a lot of people set goals. I don't know if it's like in order of importance or from the smallest to the biggest, but I know that within those goals there are definitely things that you feel like even if you don't achieve the other things, you'd be happy to just get, you know, 1 or 2 of those things, like your big ticket items. But there are also small things, like smaller things that, you know, you feel like maybe you would allow to sort of like suffer at the expense of you trying to achieve something else. And this is the same thing with me that I was talking about, that, you know, I have probably achieved most of the big ticket items that I'd set out to do at the beginning of the year. But there are definitely other things that I feel like have suffered at the expense of that because I was too busy trying to achieve all of these things, trying to accomplish all of these things, and I just didn't have time to do the other things, the smaller things. So for me, an example that I can make in terms of this is probably gym. So I'm not a person that likes gym. I'm not a person that loves to exercise like at all. I have not exercised for a very long time. I probably was more consistent about exercise when I was in high school and never again after that. And you know, I've always attached exercise, and I think this probably comes from, you know, my social settings in my varsity, and you know, after that, you know, a lot of the people that exercise are people that are either unhappy with their bodies, or they want to lose weight, or they want to gain weight. And I've never had sort of like body image issues, and I think because of that I've never felt like I never felt compelled to exercise. But I think from last year I started realizing, you know, I recently turned 30, and I know that people will speak about, yeah, you know, after a certain time your body will just not snatch back as it used to, and you know, you need to be, you know, cognizant of the things that you eat, and you know, just taking care of your body. But for me, I think my biggest concern is obviously my health when it comes to exercise, and my mental health as well. I really wanted to start exercising because I wanted to be well, you know, physically, but also emotionally and psychologically. And I've heard that exercise does a lot for your mental health. So for a person that is so concerned about that, I really feel like I have failed myself by not sort of like making it a habit that I am exercising, and I am one of those people that actually care about, you know, being consistent with gym. And something that I did, and I mean, I have actually exercised. I did join gym this year. I have exercised quite a bit, probably more than I have in the last 5 years combined. I've exercised this year. But I wouldn't say that it's a habit that has been instilled in me, that has been built within me, you know? And as a result, it is still like this lingering thing at the back of my head that this is something that you still need to do, this is something that you haven't fully accomplished. So my plan was to basically find something that I'm going to enjoy doing, something that's not going to make me feel sort of like out of depth, something that I'm gonna, you know, miss when I'm not actually doing it. And I think for the most part I did find that thing, and for me it was yoga and Pilates, and then I also discovered grid, which I really enjoyed. I mean, it was quite hectic, but I just haven't been able to stick to it. So I do just go every now and again, and it's not something that I can't go a week without doing, and I don't want that for myself. I want to be consistent with it. I want to, you know, be a gym bunny as well. So yeah, so that's the first thing that I want to do. I want to reflect on those goals, and I want to re-strategize. And for me, I think the best thing to do in terms of like gym and all of that, I mean, there's really no reason why I don't go to gym. I have access to a gym here. I have a gym membership, and my gym is like less than 2 kilometers away from my place. So honestly, there's no reason besides, you know, the excuses that I make, that I'm just too busy, that I just don't have the time. I mean, I work from home like 90% of the time, so I could actually just use time within my day to go down to the gym downstairs if I can't make it to the gym that I am a member of. So this is something that I'm just reflecting on, and just trying to find a way to sort of like re-strategize and see how best I can approach this goal for this remainder of this year. If I can go to gym like 2 or 3 times a week, for me that will be a big accomplishment, but it needs to be every week. So I guess that's why I'm also like filming this video, because I want to put this out there, because if I do that, then the next person is going to ask me, the next person is going to hold me accountable and be like, you know, how are things going with gym, and how are you finding it, are you building the habit? And I don't know, if perhaps I just need the guilt, because I haven't been able to guilt trip myself enough. So yeah, and also in this reflection and re-strategizing, I think it's also very important to understand what season you are in, because I've had years where, you know, it's just, you know, just winter or like autumn in my life. And you know, that's also okay. You know, there are years where, you know, everything happens, and then there are years where nothing happens, and it doesn't matter how hard you try, but if it's not the most ideal time for that thing to happen for you, it's just not going to happen. And I don't think it serves anyone for you to sort of like stress yourself about it or just be defeated by it or to just give up on it completely. So I do think that it's very important for you to understand your season. And just look, man, I mean, when this year started, things were not going well for me. But I was literally on the precipice of, my spring. And I feel like this entire year has just been spring for me, but I can't say the same thing for last year. And it took me accepting that and sort of like working with the things that I had at that time to ensure that I was ready for my spring. And it took me sort of like cocooning myself and just being with myself and understanding that I needed to like feed myself as much as I could, because I just could not stand to be out there because I was not ready to bloom. And then when this year hit and January, February, by February, my life completely changed. And I think that it's very important, to just understand that and not be hard on yourself, and to understand that, life has phases, life has seasons. And perhaps if you look back at this year and you just see that it was a lot of like defeat and failure and loss, then perhaps it was just the time. It was just that time for you, it was just that season for you. But what are you going to do about planning for your next season? What do you need to do in this time to ensure that you are ready for your spring? And I mean, this could take a lot of forms, because I know that, it's not easy seeing other people be in different seasons. And this is something that I also have battled with a lot in my own life. And the best thing that I think I could do for myself was sort of like isolate myself. I know that's probably not going to be best for everyone, but I needed that. I honestly just needed to be with myself and to be with God. And I speak about this frequently, but I mean, it doesn't have to take the same form. You don't have to do the exact same thing that I've done. You could believe in something else and something else could work for you. I mean, there's therapy as well. There's meditation as well. There's a lot of other mindfulness things that you could do, or like wellness things that you could do. But I think it's important that you focus, refocus, look back, reconcile, and re-strategize. So yeah, that is it for number one. And then number two, another thing that I think I need to implement in my life, and perhaps something that you can also find valuable, is to create consistency in the small things. So like I mentioned before, I work from home like 90% of the time. And for the most part, I do have sort of like a routine that I do in the morning. I wake up and I'll, read the word, and I'll just, have a small prayer, set my intentions for the day. But I want to do that consistently and intentionally. I want to sort of have a morning routine. Someone pointed out, I read something the other day that says that you own your morning, or you slay your morning and you slay your day. And I think that's very important, like how you set your intentions for the day, things that you sort of like are opening yourself up to, are very important. And once you start doing that, it's very hard for you to not do it. And I think this for me is going to really feed into this habit that I want to build, of going to gym, because I would like to go in the morning. So I want to create that consistency, whether it's, journaling. A lot of people do a lot of different things, whether it's like breath work, meditation, exercising, or just taking time to just gather your thoughts and like plan your day in your mind, write your to-do list. I want to be consistent in those things. And perhaps something that I can do is maybe in like short form content, just do those things like repeatedly, on whether it's on like shorts or whatever. But like, this is something that I really want to do for myself before the year ends, because I feel like if I can get that right, if I can build that consistency, obviously that will tie into discipline, that will result in discipline and trust for myself as well. I think that that's very important for me, as I think about the things that I want to achieve next year. I want to have absolute trust in myself. I want to have complete undoubting trust in myself, so that whatever I put down, I know that, and I trust myself to achieve it by the end of the year next year. And then the last thing that I want to mention is to be intentional about your consumption. It's about that time of year when a lot of people are going to be celebrating, getting new jobs, graduating towards the end of the year. I think people are going to be getting married, people are going to be traveling, people are just going to be doing a lot. It's the summer season. A lot of people are perhaps blooming with the season, and if you feel like there are things that, or if you feel like consuming those things is sort of like making you feel some type of way about yourself, then I feel like it's very important for you to be intentional about what you consume, what you choose to allow. And also there's just a lot that's happening as well in the world in terms of geopolitics. There's wars, there's obviously South Africa is always going through something. And I made a very intentional choice quite a while ago that I'm so sensitive to gruesome news. So for the most part, I don't watch the news. So I watch the news for what's happening in the world in terms of the economy, or in terms of pop culture. But for the most part, and I think that's the reason why now I can't stomach things that are horrific. And I've noticed this quite a while back that on Twitter, people will just post there'll be an accident, and people will literally post pictures of dead bodies. And now I have just made this conscious choice that if I see something and people are cringing, I will just not open it. I don't want to see it. I empathize, and maybe because I empathize so much, I cannot bring myself to consume things that are going to make my stomach turn. So I'm very intentional about the people that I follow. And there's this thing that I love about Twitter now, where they've separated the For You and the people that you follow. And I used to just start seeing things that would rub me the wrong way from people that I don't even follow. And now what I've decided to do, what I've been doing for the most of this year, is that I just look at the TL of people that I follow, because I know that they're not going to be bringing bull to my timeline, because I just can't. I can't, and I refuse to expose myself to that in my mind and my mental health, and just triggering stuff on GBV. This person got killed by their ex-boyfriend, this person was murdered by their husband, and it's just a lot. So I've just tuned out of all of that content. And there'll be other things as well. It doesn't have to be stuff that is horrific, but if you are newly broken up and you don't want to necessarily see people that are happily in love because it's triggering to you, then just don't consume that content. I'm very intentional about that, and that is something that I want to continue doing. At the end of this year, I know there's going to be a lot on social media, even in the news. There's a lot happening right now, and if I can control it, if I can avoid it, then I definitely will. And then also just replacing those things with things that you actually want to see. I am very pro slow living. The girlies that are just taking things slow, just focused on their lives, their work, their families, if they have families, their partners. I am pro that. I love consuming that content, people that are just not involved in all the petty bull that's happening on social media. Almost all the time. My life is very, normal and very slow. I move at my own pace, and I relate to people that live like that. So those are the people that I will follow. I will follow people that I don't enjoy, or that just rub me up the wrong way, or that I find annoying or whatever. I will mute those people, and that's just what I do. And because of that, I found that I feel so free to also just present myself to my platforms, because these are the people that I'm surrounded by, even on social media, you know, the people that I relate to, people that relate to me, and people that I don't find annoying, and then hopefully they won't find me annoying. So it's just been so free, so liberating, and I'm enjoying social media again. I am enjoying it so much. Even YouTube, there was a time that I just was not interested anymore, and now I am very happy, you know, on YouTube, with YouTube again, and like my consumption on YouTube, and TikTok as well. And I love TikTok for the fact that they're great with their algorithm. Like, they will show you stuff that you want. Basically, it doesn't take them long to figure you out, and I really like that, because my TikTok is just full of black amazing girlies that are just living their lives, and that are just winning, that are just doing the most. And I think this is what I want to continue consuming. Excuse me, I've got flu, so my voice is just, I need to like catch my breath every now and again. So yeah, I think that's it. I would love to hear what you guys think about these tips and just the video in totality, and also if you also have tips that you can give to myself or to other people that may find it helpful, then please drop the comments on the comment section in the comment section, and you never know who you might help. I think, like I said previously in one of my videos, that I do want to build a corner on this internet where, you know, we could have these kind of conversations and talk about personal development, and talk about, you know, goals and achieving goals, but also not being ashamed when we haven't achieved, you know, what we set out to achieve, and how best to sort of like go about things, and just, you know, be on our Zoom, and for the most part just be the amazing black girlies that we are. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'm also trying to figure out which days are best for me to post. So if you have suggestions, I've been thinking about Wednesday or Friday or Sunday, but let me know, and I will, like I said, this is my channel, but it's also your channel because you guys consume it. But definitely, yeah, let me know, drop your suggestions in the comment section, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.